This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dan Doggett with the Maryland Department of Disabilities Assistive Technology Program, and welcome to today's presentation on Chromebook accessibility. So today we're going to explore the built-in accessibility features on Chromebooks and also look at a couple of beneficial web extensions available that can help students or folks that have specific assistive technology needs. And we will get started with that. I am actually presenting today from a Chromebook. The last time that I did this session, there were some technical issues. So if I have to, I might jump over to my laptop if there's any issues or glitches. So if something is not coming through or there's any issues on your end, please let me know in the chat and I'll adjust and see how we do. So before we begin today, let's cover a couple of quick housekeeping items. First, live captioning is available for today's session, and you can enable them via your Zoom control bar. This webinar is also being recorded and will be posted onto our YouTube channel for later reference. So we will post that link once it is available for everyone who registered for today. We also encourage you to add your comments or questions in the chat, and we'll have plenty of time today to go through those if you have any questions or want some more demonstrations as we go. So in today's webinar, as I said earlier, we're going to be looking at the native accessibility features found in Chromebooks and also a selection of helpful browser extensions that are specifically available for Chrome. So we're going to go through, the built-in features, sort of as they're laid out, but they're sort of organized based on ability. And so there will be some display and vision features, cognitive and spoken feedback features, some audio features, then features for motor and dexterity. So, okay, as I said before, I am using a Chromebook today for this presentation. So I might, fumble around a little bit as I'm going through things. So bear with me as we do that. So let's start today by talking about like what Chromebooks specifically are, because they are slightly different from your general laptop. So Chromebooks are laptops designed to be very simple, fast, and affordable. So they're engineered to perform most tasks online and store files in the cloud rather than on your hard drive. So think about using services like Google Drive and things like that. So rather than downloading traditional software, Chromebooks actually utilize web applications and extensions. So they actually are powered by the browser that you are using, right now I'm using Chrome to power Zoom to present for you today. So because of this, they are great tools for students and just for everyday browsing and streaming for most folks. But like I said, they're quite affordable and have a lot of robust features that can be utilized by students. Okay, so starting with the built-in accessibility features. So the way that you access them is via sort of the control bar on your Chromebook itself. So it's referred to as the status tray, and you can access it just via the bottom right-hand corner. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to get rid of this browser, and so we can do this together on my side. All right. So now we're just looking at my my home screen on my Chromebook, and down here on the bottom right is the status tray. If I open this up, so one of the things that we have here is at the bottom right is this little gear icon. So if I click on that gear icon, that opens up my general settings for my Chromebook. And under my settings, If I scroll down, I will find accessibility. And so if I click on that, this will access all of my accessibility features that we'll go through today. And so if I want to have quick access to them, I can switch this toggle on. And then you'll notice I've got my accessibility features ready to go, and I can access them very quickly. Okay, so these are our accessibility features. And again, these are built-in features on a Chromebook. They come standard. You don't need to download anything. These are things that will come on every Chromebook that you purchase. And let's start by talking about text-to-speech. So there are two forms of text-to-speech that are built in on a Chromebook. The first is Chromebox. And Chromebox is the Chrome specific screen reader. And so screen readers, if you're not aware, screen readers are tools used or assistive technology used specifically by blind individuals. And it will read the contents of the screen to them as they navigate through. So they will tab through the items with the tab key, or use the space bar or down key, and it will read the contents to them as they go through. And so I'm going to turn that on for you right now, and you can get a understanding of what this is like. Let's see if this will, hopefully the sound will come through on your end. Let me know if it does not. So I'm going to turn it on. I am not getting my sound coming through here right now. Oh, hold on.
Automatically read page after it finishes loading. Chromebox subpage back button. Toggle button.
All right, so
Pressed.
we're getting here. Let me turn this off.
Chromebox subpage.
We're getting a little bit of lag there, I think, because I'm streaming for you all. But essentially, it will just read through the content as you navigate through it with your keyboard. I hope everyone was able to hear that a little bit. Could you let me know in the chat if you were able to hear any of those things? And then moving on is the select to speak feature. And the select to speak feature, this is not necessarily specific for blind individuals and low sighted. This is more so for cognitive and comprehension. So if I turn select to speak on, and let's say, let me pull up a web page. Pull this over here. All right, definitely having some lag today. All right, so up on my screen, I now have a website. This is just, an article from ESPN.com. So if I want to read a certain passage, so right now I'm just highlighting text. This is the title of this. So if I highlight that and click listen to selected text, it should read that out to me. Again, I think we're dealing with a little bit of lag here. Let's try that one more time.
How will the Patriots respond in 2026 to the Super Bowl loss?
So there we go. So there is our select to speech. Okay, let me pull back up our settings. Okay, so now we also, the next thing we have here are some display and magnification settings in Chromebooks. And these obviously will, if you're having issues seeing your screen, there are lots of different sort of options to help with that. First we have here is color correction. So color correction is great if you have certain sensitivities or certain specific types of color blindness. And whether it's blue, yellow, red, green issues, you can change this, and then this sort of changes the display on your screen to sort of help adjust for those things. Also have here color inversion. Color inversion is something that is this is a nice way for a lot of people prefer to sort of read their content in this sort of inverted color where it's white text on black background. I know a lot of programmers use this. This is something that I think people, a lot of people think it's a little bit easier to read on the eyes. So that's another option here. And then we have two different types of magnifiers. And these magnifiers, they sort of work a little bit differently. The first we have is a full screen magnifier. And that sounds exactly what you think it sounds like. It's going to magnify the entire screen. So I'm going to open that up. And as you can see, my whole screen is zoomed in. And so there are, let's see if this will, there are 3 different options. Let's see if I can get to them. In terms of how you control the screen, because obviously we can't fit the whole screen on here. And so the first option, which is already highlighted, is the move screen when mouse touches the edge. So if I move to the edge of the screen, it's got to move that over. So that's sort of the first one that gets started. The next one, this first one up here, is move screen continuously as mouse moves. And so as I move my mouse, it's moving with me. And this is maybe a little bit hard to gauge with the lag here. And then the last one here is move screen, keeping mouse in the center of the screen. So if I click that one, my mouse is going to stay in the center and everything else moves around. Again, a little hard to tell with the lag. So let's see what we can do. All right. I'm going to turn off magnifier now. Hopefully, yes. Okay, great. And so the second type of magnifier that we have is a docked magnifier. And so docked magnifiers will only magnify a portion of the screen. And so if I turn this on, you can see at the very top there is a portion of the screen. It's sort of magnifying one larger horizontal strip. And we can sort of change some settings here. We can change the level of magnification. We can, so if you're using select to speak, it will follow specific words for you. It can follow the screen reader focus. So if you're using this in along with using your screen reader, you could change the size of the dock. So if I want to make this larger, I can make it larger. I could make it smaller, and so on and so forth. But the idea here is that, and this is my opinion, if you, I think that the navigation and sort of understanding the relation of things is helpful when you use docked navigation or docked magnification. All right. Okay, so those are our display and magnification settings that we have here in Chromebooks. Okay, so now let's move on and talk about keyboard and text input. So we have a couple of different things here. The first thing we have is the on-screen keyboard. So if I open this up, and you should see a keyboard pop up. Here it is. Okay, and so on-screen keyboards are really good for people with limited mobility. So like, let's say they have access to maybe a trackpad to be able to navigate the web. They can use their mouse or a trackpad to be able to type if they don't have the dexterity of their fingers to be able to do so. So very useful for that. We also have dictation. So this is instead of text to speech, we have speech to text. So you can type things with your voice. And I'm not going to demonstrate that for you today because I feel like the lag is going to cause issues there. And then also we have switch access. So we were talking about assistive technology like trackpads and things like that. If people are using switches, which are sort of a binary buttons, this will connect to them, and they'll be able to basically tab through like you would on a screen reader. We have a couple of other ones here. There's a lot of sort of different settings here that you could experiment with, but these all sort of deal with how the cursor interacts with content, whether the visual blinking rate of it or any other sort of things like that. So we're going to move on and talk about the cursor itself. So you might notice that my cursor is actually large. And so if you could see, I actually, where is it? I have already selected on mine, show large mouse cursor. And so if I turn that on, I have this large mouse cursor. And I tend to have this on in general, especially when I'm doing presentations or where people need to follow my screen. It's a very easy way to do that. And I also have the highlight the mouse or cursor when it's moving. So you can see there's this little sort of reddish orange circle that's following me. And it just sort of helps track where that information is. Again, two very useful approaches here. Let's see. Some other things I want to talk about are automatic clicks. So this is a helpful tool. Again, if people have access to trackpads or their mouse, but might have issues with actually pressing the buttons themselves. So if I can move my mouse around but not press the buttons, what it will do is it will, like, once you sort of hover over a button or a link for a certain amount of time, and you can sort of change specifically how much time, it will then click on that specific thing. So if I turn this on, so right now I have a delay of 1 second. So for when I stop moving my mouse, it will then click on that. Okay, so then I could change it to whatever I want. Might be 2 seconds, might be 4 seconds. Let's do 4 seconds. All right, and so now if I go here, it will wait for 4 seconds and then turns off. Am I sure I want to turn it off? Yes, I am. Okay, so another very useful tool for those with motor issues. And the last thing we have here, which I think is very cool, and it's something that I'm seeing more and more that Chrome is incorporating, are the face controls. And this is where if you don't have access, if you don't have motor access to your limbs, you can actually control the interface with just specific head movements and facial expressions. So you can change these based on different interactions. And so for this, you do have to sort of set it up, and it will take some time to do that. But things like a smile, closing your eyes will allow specific things to happen with that. So very cool, and it's really impressive to see things like this built in. Again, these are not software that you have to purchase. These all come automatically with your Chromebook. Okay, moving on to audio and captions. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. We do have a couple of selections here. First is mono audio. So audio generally these days is in stereo. So if you're wearing headphones, there might be different audio in your right ear versus your left ear. If you don't have hearing access in one of your ears, you can turn on mono audio, and all of that audio will be contained in the same speaker. So that's something there for you. Another really useful tool is live caption. So if I turn this on, and let's say I am listening to, or I have a podcast, like some audio, or maybe a video that does not have closed captions built into it, I could turn on live audio, and it will caption what is being portrayed on screen or via audio if there's no other captioning available for it. So with live caption, you do have to be careful because these are automated captions. They're not going to be super accurate, but this is something like if you don't, if the video that you're seeing doesn't have captions available, but I definitely think for things like podcasts and radio, this is a very helpful feature for that. And then you could adjust, the size and the font and color of those captions. Lots of different options here to help you with that. Let's see, anything else for audio and captions? All right, I think that's everything that I wanted to show you for your built-in accessibility settings. I want to pause right now and see if folks have any questions for me about these built-in settings, or if there's anything else you'd like me to demonstrate for the built-in settings. I am going to switch to my laptop because I do think it'll be a better experience. But just wanted to pause and do a little pulse check to see how everyone's doing. Okay, well, looking good. I'm going to take a moment and is there a way on Chromebooks to enlarge the Chrome menu? So are you just talking about the text in the settings themselves, Cheryl? Is that what you're asking? Yes. Okay. So there's a couple ways we can do that. So first, I can press Control and use my trackpad to sort of zoom in. So this is one way we can do this. Another way is, and that's just for like quick access for things that you can't really see too well. But otherwise, we could go back to display and magnification. And I'm going to go to display settings. Wait, no, not display settings. What do I want to do? Here we go. Website text and font. Oh, this is going to take me to Chrome. All right. Well, I'm going to just change my zoom so I could zoom in on my settings, and I'm at 250%. Now I will say, if you need to get this far zoomed in, I might recommend using one of the magnifiers, whether it's the dock magnifier or the full screen. But I feel like there probably is a way to do just changing the text size. Let me just take a look. Search up here is good because it will find, here we go, text size. Aha, all right. So we've got our display and text size here. We're at 100%. Let's say I don't want to use a magnifier, but I do want to see my text larger. Okay, so now the text is larger on the screen. And you can tell, so we can see less things on the screen itself, but our text is larger. So that is under device. All right, so I'm going to make this back to this size. And I am going to switch over to my laptop to talk about some of these browser extensions. So give me just 2 seconds to do that. Okay, I am back and now on a different device. Thank you for your patience. All right, and I think this will work a lot easier on my laptop because I won't have as much lag there. Again, a lot of that has to do with the fact that was also controlling Zoom, so that was sort of taking that up for us. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. Share and share soon. Screen two. Okay, so like I said earlier, so our Chromebooks are essentially uh, sort of like low-powered laptops that really utilize the power in your actual browser itself to, do certain functions. So you don't necessarily download applications like you would on a standard computer. You would download web extensions and browser extensions. So if you're not familiar with browser extensions, again, they sort of use the power of the browser to, run that software itself. It's sort of like using a browser as the computer source. So in Chrome, so if you go, I think it is, let me check here, Chrome Web Store. So chromewebstore.google.com is how you can access a lot of these different browser extensions. There are multiple different ones. I mean, if you're not, I use a lot of different browser extensions to help me with my accessibility testing and things like that. There's all sorts of tools and things that you can use. But let's talk about some of the sort of assistive tools that can be used that are great for in the classroom or just for, general assistive technology in general. So if you do want to download any of these, and I'm just going to sort of show you how easy it is. So you could search for that extension here. Let me just click on this random one. And so I already have Read and Write installed on my Chrome. So there would be a button. Actually, let's try one that I don't have. Okay, I don't know what this is. Oh, Read Aloud. Okay, so again, another one that I have. Let me find one that I don't have. Let's try one. Let's do language tool. So for language tool, you're going to click add to Chrome. And again, I have the Chrome browser up. So click add extension. And okay, got it. Oh, a lot of setup here. All right, well. Okay, and so then to access your extensions, on the top right-hand corner of your screen, there is a little puzzle piece. And if I click on this, this is the full list of all the extensions that I have downloaded onto my browser. And so if I click on at the very bottom, Manage Extensions, I can see the full list of extensions that I have installed, and I can toggle them on and off here. So if there's a certain extension that I use every day. So for instance, I use Accessible Color Picker all the time. And so I could see it right here, it's toggled on. I could access it right here very easily. I will, have that on. If I, don't use it. So a lot of times actually, if you find that your browser can be a little slow, like it's not running very well, you can turn browser extensions off, and that can sometimes speed up your processing. It's a little browser extension hack there for you. Okay, so let's talk about some of these browser extensions and how they work. The first one I want to talk about is Read and Write. So this is a tool, and I'm gonna just use Wikipedia as my trying to find the word, sample today. All right. Actually, before I get to browser extensions, there is one other thing that I want to talk about, and this is not something, this is not a accessibility setting. This is actually more specifically a setting within your browser itself. I know that most browsers have what's called a reading mode involved, and I believe in Chrome it is literally called reading mode. If I right-click on a website, and down here, sort of in the middle, says open in reading mode. So if I open this up, so we now have the Wikipedia article, and what they've done is they've sort of stripped it of a lot of the excess noise. So we're really just looking at the text itself. And so Wikipedia is probably, so if I want to read this without the distractions of, say, like if I was on like a news site and I didn't want to see all the ads, and I wanted to not see all those pictures, I just wanted to read these articles, I could read this in reading mode. With reading mode, you can also change their text size. So I could change my text size. I could change the font. So let's say if I wanted a font that did not have serifs, so I could do a sans serif font like that, and then suddenly I don't have those little extra things on the ends of like things like my T or I. I can also change the color. I could change my letter spacing, all these things. So, this is just another, way to help out. And especially if if you're dealing with comprehension issues, if you, it's just a really helpful assistant for these things. Again, this is built into your browser. It's called reading mode. Okay, so now let's take a look at some of these browser extensions. So what I will say, a lot of these browser extensions do things similar to what we already had in the built-in accessibility settings. Some of it is an exact, the same thing. Sometimes they're slightly different. And what's great about this is you get to try them out and you see which things work best for you. And I think that's what's most important, is finding the right tool for you. What makes sense, what makes things easier for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Read and Write, and it's going to load a toolbar at the top of my screen here. And so there are a ton of different things that we can do with Read and Write. Read and Write is a very popular extension in the school systems. First thing we can do, so similar to what I already showed you, we can do text-to-speech. So I can highlight, a paragraph, a passage, and if I click play, it will play that. Actually, yeah.
Dogs have been bred for desired behaviors. Dog breeds vary widely in shape, size, and color.
Not only, actually, hold on a second. We're going to try that again because this computer was muted. Let's try that one more time.
Dogs have been bred for desired behaviors. So
hope you were able to hear that on your end. It read for me what was being, like on the screen, what I had highlighted. What I also really like about Read and Write is it highlights the specific words as you go. And, similar to select the speech, you can change the rate, you can change the voice, things like that. It can be very helpful. Another thing that I really like about Read and Write is it has this ability for you to highlight certain parts of the text, and it will save it on the screen. So if I am, going through a website and I'm trying to, get the most important informations, like let's say, oh, I'm very interested in the fact that dogs have the same number of bones with the exception of the tail. That's a very interesting fact. So I can highlight that. And even if I go down and read more, that information is still being highlighted here. Also, so let's say I go through and I highlight a bunch of different things from this article that are really important to me. Again, I'm highlighting a bunch of things. So now I've got, certain passages that are highlighted. There's an option here to collect all of those highlights into a new separate document. And so just the things that you highlighted. So that's a super easy way to sort of collect notes based on what you found in those passages. Let's see, let's get rid of these highlights. What else can we do here? There's a bunch of different things in Read and Write. There's also a dictionary. So let's find that dictionary. Which one's dictionary? Here we go, dictionary. So let's say there's a word here, population. Let's say I don't know the word population. I could highlight that as I'm reading and click on this icon here, and it will provide me the definition of that word. Super useful in the classroom. A great way, to boost comprehension, domesticated. I'm trying to think about words that if I was in elementary school and may not know the definition of, I could just read what those mean. So like I said, again, this one is called Read and Write, and a very useful web extension here that you can use. Now, if you're done with Read and Write and you want to go back to your normal browsing, so you could do one of two things. I can exit out here, or I could just refresh this page, and so it's gone. Okay, so the next thing that I want to showcase for you, let's see, let's go back to my extensions so we could see some of these here. So the next thing I have here, and this is a pretty simple extension called Dyslexic Browser. There are lots of different options for this. There's another one called Open Dyslexic. Basically, if you search for dyslexic in your in the web store, you'll find multiple ones right here. But what it would do is when I turn this on, it will turn all of the text on my page. Let's see, did I turn? Sometimes it takes a second. There we go. So it has changed all of the font of my text to Open Dyslexic, which is a font that has been linked to help people with dyslexia read and comprehend information. So now with that on, if I go to any website, the text is automatically in this font. So very useful if that is something that is helpful for you or say your students. And the next one I want to talk about is an extension called Stay Focused. And Stay Focused is a very, not helpful for, not that one. This is a great tool if you or your students are trying to, limit, say, social media or other websites where you want to say I want to study for the next hour or so. I don't want to navigate to Facebook or something like that, you can turn that on, and you can, add your specifically blocked sites, the things that you don't want to go to, and then you could change the time as long as you would like to not be able to go to that website, and it will, keep that. It won't let you go to those websites. So stay focused is another really important one for just like focusing in on work. If you have issues with time management, and you're trying to, limit your distractions. And again, stay focused is one. There are many, many other web extensions that are similar to that. Okay, and so along with that, I guess the last one I want to show you is called HelperBird. And HelperBird is similar to Read and Write in the sense that it has a bunch of different things here that you can use. HelperBird does have, there is a paid tier license. So depending on if this is something used in your school system, you might be able to, get this paid tier. But similar to Read and Write, you can highlight certain things. Let's see if I do it this way. Oh, got to turn it on. Helps to turn it on. So I can highlight information. Why isn't it doing it? Oh, well. I could turn it into reading mode within HelperBird. So they have their own reading mode. Now, one of the things I like about HelperBird is it does, let's see, where is the dyslexia ruler? All right, so if I turn this on, this might take a second. All right, so you may notice on my screen now, there is a purple line. And so as I sort of scroll up and down through the website, it's basically highlighting that line. So if I have issues tracking, from left to right with my text, this is something that can be very helpful for you. I know back in the analog days of reading, they would use like a ruler to sort of go down, so you would help you with your tracking. So now we can do it digitally. And with this too, you can also, you could change your color for that ruler. So let's say, I want to change that. Here, how do I do it? Okay, well, we don't need to spend time going through that, but that is the immersive reader or the dyslexia ruler, and is also very helpful for that. Okay, so those are the main web extensions that I wanted to show you. Again, a lot of them will do similar things to what the built-in accessibility settings will do in Chrome. However, it's important, especially if you're working with students, to find something that works for the individual, because certain things are not going to work for everyone. And what's nice about this is that there's a lot of different options, and most of them are free. They're free extensions. So at this time, I want to sort of open it up and see if anyone had any questions, or if you would like me to demonstrate any of these other web extensions or any of the other settings that we have here in Chrome. Happy to do so. All right, looking in the chat, I don't see any questions. Okay, well, great. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me today for the Chromebook Accessibility. I know a lot of people are just starting off with the school year this week, so I know that this would be timely for a lot of people. Like I said, this is being recorded today, and we will send it out to all registrants once we have it up on YouTube and ready to go. So again, thank you, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Thank you.